Ever feel overwhelmed, or do you currently stress out over reading either academic articles or novels or nonfiction books? Can't remember what you read, can't comprehend what you read, too much going on, just feel like going crazy over reading? Well, relax. I've got you covered in this screencast. My name is Drew Durham. I'm here to talk to you about the SQ3R reading method, a reading method that was taught to me at Landmark College, and I continually try to use. Sometimes I don't always use it, but it's an important reading method to put in place if you really want to remember what you do. I do use it all the time for academic articles, but I can also use it for anyone can use it for any type of reading, really. So SQ3R stands for Survey, Question, Read, Recall, Review. Survey means that giving a quick overview of all the materials to be read, making questions, that's the next step, which is where the reader makes questions based on what they learn in the survey, based on ideas they have. Then to read using different reading techniques as well as some memory techniques to get them ready for the recall. And the recall is where they use just their memory, not the notes, to answer the questions and remember all the important points or plot points or whatever of the reading. And then review is where you get critical, metacognitive, meta-reading into evaluating the notes, evaluating your learning process, and evaluating the comprehension and recall. This screencast will be talking about the first two, survey and question mostly. Talk a little bit about read, about how we're going to be talking about in the next two screencasts. So the next screencast will talk about the reading techniques and memory techniques. And I'll talk a little bit about recall, and then the next one we'll talk about recall and review, and wrap up with a little bit of memory of how well we learned about everything in the third screencast. So first we'll talk about survey. You're going to want to review the material broadly using abstract section or chapter headings. So as plot summaries, maybe review the pictures before you get into it, or also captions. So another thing that I learned doing this, this is specifically why I use it for academic articles. Most of the time I use this method for academic articles because this thing called reverse reading. One of my professors recently told me about this, and it said that you should read academic articles backwards, where you read the conclusion first, the abstract second, the introduction third, and then read everything in between last. It's a very interesting way of going about it, and it really helps with the survey and the recall and the making the questions especially. It really makes it more evaluative and metacognitive way of doing it instead of just reading from the beginning and hoping it makes sense. Anyway, the question phase. You start a mental conversation with the text. You create questions in your mind that are usually based on the survey and other things that you learned from the first kind of what they call recognizance of the text. And this will also help you get ready for the reading because you'll know what questions you're trying to get answered, what questions need to be answered by the text in order for it to make sense. And then we'll talk a little bit about the reading now, where you want to continually ask questions, take too many notes. There are lots of other memory techniques, and you want to get creative about your creations between your creative notes and also the relationships between ideas, so it can make more sense in your brain to make these connections. We'll talk more about that next. Next screencast, again, we'll go back over what we learned. So we learned to review broadly abstracts and plot using the survey, take notes of what you learned in the survey, maybe use a little bit of reverse reading we talked about. Questioning phase, make a mental conversation, ask a lot of questions based on the survey, and create that bridge between the survey and the reading. And then reading, we learned about talked a little bit about the techniques, and we'll talk more about that in the next screencast. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, you can email me. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.